Welcome to the non-native, I just wrote the title Non-Native Speaker Diaries, but it should be the Non-Native Teacher Diaries. Never mind. Welcome to the first Non-Native Teacher Diaries. In a moment, I am going to bring on today's guest, Zdenek. I'm really struggling with talking today. I was looking at my calendar very surprised because my mornings are usually dead and then I have sessions in the afternoon, but I've actually already had 2 sessions this morning. So my brain is a little bit all over the place. But hello, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Hello. Just going to give everyone a little second to come on because I have actually announced this live in advance. Usually I don't. Usually I am just waiting. I'm getting weird notifications. Usually I'm just like, I'll just quickly go on live now, and then people are like, what are you talking about? Why are you here? What's going on? I'm like, I don't know. But let me tell you a little bit about this series if you didn't catch the launch live that I did yesterday. So this is the Non-Native Teacher Diaries. Apologies for the incorrect title now. And in this series, I am hoping to bring on a whole bunch of English teachers who happen to be non-native speakers and just get their experience, hear some of the challenges that they've faced, if they face challenges, hear about the things that they love about their job, the things that they love about their industry. Some of my guests will be, more positive. Some of my guests will be more negative. That is to be expected. And we'll the whole purpose is really to give them the space to tell me what it is that they think is important about this topic. I'm just going to check because my guest is not here. So I'm just going to send him a quick message. Can you join live? And hopefully he'll be joining in just a second. No, we've got a third person joining. I do find the etiquette of requesting to join people's lives, I do find a little bit strange, because I would never do that myself. I would never presume to join someone's live without being invited. Okay, Zdenek is here. Zdenek, if you can press the little camera, it's like a camera with a plus sign, and you should be able to request to join. I'll wait for that. There we go. Alrighty, I've got the request. Instagram actually connects us through. I think I've pressed accept. There we go. Hello. Hi. I like a bit of drama at the beginning of the live.
Yeah.
Is the guest gonna come? Is he not?
I've been here all along. I just didn't know how to go live basically with you. So you had to explain all that to me.
Okay. It's a camera with a cross.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick sound check before we go. If people on the comments can just let us know if they can hear us clearly, if they can see us. I can hear you, Zdenek. Can you hear me?
Okay, that's great. Well, I was going to use a microphone. I've got like a fancy microphone here, but I can't make it work. I didn't test it enough, so I think it's for the best if we do it in the old-fashioned way.
That's fine with me. That's fine with me. Yeah, I've had times before where I've been using these, which seems to be fine if it's just me, and then a guest arrives and the volumes change. So yeah. I've learned that just the straight up, no tech, no anything is probably the best way of going about it. All right, Zdenek, we're going to get started. As I was just explaining just then, this is the Non-Native Teacher Diaries. Diaries indicating that really it's your space. As far as I'm concerned, this is your space to bring whatever it is that you feel is important about this topic. We have spoken a little bit about this before, so I have a general idea of the flavor that you're going to kind of bring to this conversation, but I'm excited to let you lead it. I see that you've just put in headphones, so I'm
Yeah,
interested to know if
I think I will hear you a little bit louder, because the thing is, before I came on live, I could hear you more. So as you have mentioned, the volumes levels have changed for some reason. So I think the headphones will work a little bit better.
Okay, all right. We can still hear you. Obviously, if anyone can't, just let us know. That's great. So before we dive into this topic, could you give us like a really quick introduction to Zdenek?
Okay. So I am what you call a non-native English teacher. I think we will talk about whether I am happy with that label or not. Yeah. I'm from the Czech Republic. I was born in Prague, the capital, and I've been teaching English for a really long time. I'm 40 years old, and I pretty much didn't do anything else except teaching. So I've been a teacher for as long as I can remember. Teaching English in various settings, so to speak, in different countries as well. And yeah, I honestly cannot, while I'm aware of all the problems there are in our field, I cannot imagine doing anything else. Like, I am a teacher, this is who I am, and yeah, I think I will be an English teacher for the rest of my life.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Well, why don't we jump straight into that terminology point? Because I think that's really important. I think there is such a thing, and perhaps you can speak to this in a second. There is such a thing as the usefulness of non-native and native. It's a descriptor. It describes. But there is something in that terminology that creates a division that is arguably not necessary at all, and B, that term non-native, it's like I am and you are not. Exactly. And there is something horrible about it. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts.
Well, the thing is, what I will tell you is that I didn't used to be bothered about this in the past for a long time. For the vast majority of my career, I didn't really care that much. It didn't affect me in any way. But the longer I teach, and the more I'm trying to sort of break through that barrier online, the more I'm starting to get aware or become aware of all these problems, of the discrimination that exists and stuff like that. So as you said, for me, the main issue is that the word itself, there's nothing wrong with it, as you said, as a descriptor. But, you know, when we look at words, they have either the denotative meaning, which is the meaning you would find in a dictionary, and then there's the connotative meaning, which is a word, some kind of association people have with that word. And this also changes over time. So it may have been perceived in a different way 10 years ago than it is now. And, you know, we have had so many examples in history of etymology, right? And it's to do with racism as well, how words which were perfectly fine, which were perfectly acceptable, became toxic, and they started to be used in a way to bully people and to basically look down on people, and which led to racism, discrimination, segregation, and whatnot. For a lot of people, this will be really hard to sort of understand, because maybe they are on the receiving end of racism. They are from the minority groups. But actually, it's a similar thing. You know, when you are a victim of something like that, that only then will you be able to understand that. If you have never been through it, you cannot understand it. Okay, am I rambling? What was the question?
Not at all. This is your diary. This is your space.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't give me too much space, I guess.
I think it's interesting. Somebody's just commented. Broken15 has just commented. Native means you're from a place where the official language is English. In this case, talking about English native speakers. And I think I think what you're speaking to is that there is that, like, yeah, it's a descriptor, but actually it's not something that I thought about for a long time until that descriptor became almost weaponized.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I felt it's no longer helpful. I felt I'm being basically left out or bullied almost. It's very subtle at the beginning. That's the thing, yeah. But when you're trying to achieve something, now I'm trying to be, let's say, more successful online, yeah, just like yourself. And then you see that you're being thrown obstacles in your way. Then that's when you kind of see it. That's when you notice it. And obviously, there's the other thing. At the moment, I am based in Vietnam, so Southeast Asia, and it's very, very ubiquitous here that you get ads for native speakers only, and you get constantly bombarded by that. I don't need a job anymore. Yeah, I found a job here, but you get bombarded by we only want native speakers, and it almost makes you feel less valuable. I know this is not true because I have achieved a lot. Actually, I've got a very good CV as an English teacher. I've worked in London, Dublin, places like that, alongside native speakers, and I know everywhere I worked, I was received really well, and I was respected by my employer. The students didn't complain about me, so there was no problem whatsoever. But it still sort of hurts, you know, seeing it on a daily basis. You wake up in the morning, you grab your phone as you would, you know, checking have I got any messages? What's, you know, like you want you don't want to sort of get up yet. You spend some time lying in your bed, and then one of the first things that pop up on your screen is, oh, we are looking for an English teacher, and they should be asking for qualified, experienced, and frankly, excellent English teachers, right? Who can change their students' lives, who can really inspire, who can do an excellent job. But instead, the first thing you see, we're looking for a native speaker teacher or native teacher. And I know I am not, based on those descriptions. Yeah, I'm not. I'm from the Czech Republic. English is my second language. When I was 18 years old, my English was at, let's say, at an weak intermediate level. Yeah. So I have come a long way myself to get to this level. So, but I'm there now, you know, I have a very good level to teach English, and it's not even the most important thing in my opinion. Yet it seems to be very important for so many people where I come from and how I sound, you know. I think the people watching this stream, they can probably tell that I'm not British or American. They can probably tell that my accent is slightly different. But at the same time, is it not clear? Is it not clear enough? Am I not making my points clear? I think I am. You tell me. I don't know. You should be the judge of that, not me.
No, but I mean, that final comment there is almost kind of proving the point of, like, as if I am some judge, as if
yeah.
And obviously that's not at all what you meant. I
meant you and the people watching. That's what I meant. Yeah.
I think there's something really interesting in what you said there about almost starting to believe it, and that's I think where this becomes really, really damaging, is that you start doubting your nearly 20 years experience. You start doubting, like, well, I mean, I think I was pretty good, and I think I was, and this gets into your head of, like, well, actually maybe, and I'm not saying that you've ever gotten so far as agreeing with these messages, but they get in there.
It's a bit different for me, Rhiannon. I don't think so, because I've done so much in this field, and I've seen it many times that I really smashed the native teachers. Like, in any environment I worked in, I smashed. I was not worse than them. Let's put it that way. Let's be
probably,
you know, humble about. Let's be humble about it. Let's be humble about it. It makes me angry though. It really infuriates me. It drives me nuts. I'm sorry. Can I swear on this?
Yeah.
On this live? It pisses me off. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I don't want to see this. You know, I don't want to see this. Why should I see this? Yeah. I know who I am. I know my own worth. Why should I be? I'm not doubting myself. I just don't want, it's almost like people are like, I don't know, just calling you names or something. Like, it just doesn't sound right, you know.
Yeah.
And I know, as you said, for a lot of people who are novice teachers or who are trying to sort of stand on their feet, or what the expression is.
Stand on 2 feet, yeah, or get
yeah. Find their feet. That's the expression. If there's, for the people that are trying to find their feet in this field and just try to, they have, they must have a lot of teething problems as it already is. But now facing this discrimination, it's like a mountain to climb. It's so. I can imagine how hard it must be, because it's very similar to race. I really think it's very similar to racism or any sort of if you are a minority and you see that they don't look at you in the same way as they look at the norm, let's say, the people that are the norm. It must be very similar, So so there are two ways to look at it. On the one hand, your anger could fuel sort of, it could make you stronger because you want to sort of prove to everyone that you can do it. And I think in my case, it has been that little bit. Yeah. I wanted to show everyone that I have what it takes and I can succeed and I can be an excellent teacher. I'm quite competitive as well because I used to be a football player and all that. So it sort of goes hand in hand with that. But what was, I don't know what my point was anymore. But yeah, okay. So this is one way. Yeah. But then it also gets you down, It also gets you down, and you are frustrated and on the verge of giving up. Sometimes you just like, is this even worth it? You ask yourself these questions. Yeah. Why should I put myself through this? Shouldn't I do just something else where I will be appreciated, where I'll be given the chance to get to the top? This is the worst thing. There's this glass ceiling, the idea of glass ceiling. Yeah, so you can see that you can get there, but there's this glass, this invisible barrier that will prevent you from getting there. Yeah, and that's this discrimination, this native speakerism bias. Yeah, that native speakers are preferred in the world of ELT, English language teaching, and yeah, so there are like two ways of looking at it. Then there are people like marketers. Hey, use it to your advantage. You can do this. Sometimes for me, this is toxic positivity, because you can't just tell everyone you can do this, you can do what it takes. It doesn't always work. Like it's like when you're telling someone who has been through something really difficult, like some sort of trauma or something, or someone, let's say someone's relative has died, and you are telling them it will all be all right, it will all be fine. This is toxic. This is not. You have to let them go through that emotion. Actually, you can't tell them this. So it's very similar, it's very similar. It just doesn't work. There's discrimination. It's a fact. Yeah, it's a fact. Everyone can see it. So.
No, I completely agree. One of the kind of tensions I have in my work is that when my clients come to me, and not all of them are coming to me with like non-native shame, as I might sort of characterize, or internalized non-native shame. Not all of them are, but when they are, the challenge that I face is like, obviously my work with you is to help you see that those messages that you've received are not true. But that doesn't stop the messages from existing. They might be lies. They might not be a truth that you have to believe about yourself, but the discrimination still exists. It's still true that you might not get that job. And actually, you might not get lots and lots and lots of jobs, depending on where you are in the world and the laws there and the culture there. I can't change that. And actually, as you said, anger is, I think, a pretty fair response to it. Do you want to be fueled by anger for your whole life? No, probably not. No. But as you say, it's something that you have to kind of go through. I actually think that's a really normal response to, as you say, coming across this glass ceiling and being like, this is bloody unfair. This is ridiculous. This is wrong.
Exactly. I don't know if there are any other ways to handle this or to deal with this. Okay, you could be really positive, like this mindset, like a super positive mindset, you know, learning from all the self-help books. That's not who I am. Okay, I'll tell you straight away. I'm not that
As
guy.
a mindset
I don't,
that is not me.
and I don't like it. I don't like it. But I understand it. It may work for some people. Yeah, I'll give you that. But then you can be really angry. But then, as you said, if this is long term, I think it's going to take its toll on you. Like if you're only angry in your life, it doesn't even have to be about this. It could be about anything, right? Always like resentful and like you have these negative emotions and vengeful and all that. It's not gonna. It may work short term, but long term, I think it's you're gonna.
I agree.
Yeah, you're going to suffer in the end, I think.
Yeah.
And what else is there really? I don't know. Just to brush it off, like sort of like shake it off. I don't know. Just to be resilient and not let anything get to you. I don't know what else is there really.
Where would you say you are on that kind of journey at the moment?
I think all over the place.
Positive one day, angry the next.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends how I wake up, I guess. Yeah. What's important is that I am really aware of my own worth, you know, and I will not settle for less than I deserve. So that is something that I'm quite proud of, that I got to this stage, because I don't think it has always been there. And I think my experience of working especially in England, has contributed to developing that sort of, I don't know what it is, mindset or attitude. Yeah. I just know I can do it. Yeah. Because I've had like numerous, let's say, positive instances of great feedback from my students. And I just know I can do this job pretty effectively. Yeah? But then you also want to be appreciated for your work. Like, you know, so you're trying to find ways how to do this. So you don't always want to end up working for language schools, because, I mean, I have had so many great experiences working for language schools, and there are a lot of advantages to doing that, you know, but it's a whole new topic. You probably know a lot about it yourself, but you also want to make it by yourself, right? You want to see if you can, you're a great example of someone who has managed that. So you work online, yeah, you have your own students, and yeah. So
I do want to end, you've sprinkled a little bit of this throughout, and you've just talked there about, you know, your worth and how good you are. To step that out a little bit more broadly, not just in terms of you and your experience, but non-native teachers more broadly, to use that label that we're not entirely happy with, what do you think that teachers should be really holding on to as, like, this is a strength that I have, this is something I have, maybe even that the native teachers don't have? What sort of things would you put on that list?
One thing I would say is that, is this question even fair to ask?
Okay.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
You know, because like, why would you need to do that? Only because there's this discrimination, only because we need to give encouragement to people like me. Yeah? So while I'm going to give you my answer, but I'm like, should we even be asking these questions? Like, isn't it obvious that we have strengths, and like everyone else, like every other teacher, right? Okay, you have to ask yourself, what makes a great teacher? What makes an excellent teacher? Think of your own childhood or university years. Who were your best teachers? Was it about where they came from or what accent they have? Or was it about how they have managed to change your life, how they've managed to what extent they've managed to inspire you, and the knowledge they managed to pass on you? Wasn't it about that more? Or was it about, let's say, how you've managed to connect with that teacher on a personal level, you know, which is something which is very underrated in my opinion. Yeah. So strengths. Okay, so the common ones that everybody talks about is that you've done it yourself, right? So you can really put yourself in your students' shoes, which is priceless in my opinion. And then obviously there are some specifics if you teach a specific nationality, let's say, and you are the same nationality or similar, or like if you have experience teaching different nationalities, that you start seeing these patterns, the patterns of specific problems that the students face to do with pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, the specific challenges. So you can really capitalize on that. You can really make use of that. And then what else is there? Loads. Like you have more empathy. Often you have a lot of inside grammar knowledge because you had to learn that language inside out yourself. So listen, nothing against native speaker teachers. I know some excellent, amazing native speaker teachers, but let's be honest. Then there are some native teachers that they enjoy the privilege of being native teachers, and they are not well qualified. They don't care about their self-development as teachers. Sometimes they just do it because they are paid a lot of money. It's a great opportunity to travel or something like that. I know it's not everyone, yeah, but there are teachers like that, yeah. So you can never be that kind of teacher because you always have to prove yourself as a non-native teacher. So it's a good thing because you show resilience, you show strength, you don't give up. And those are qualities that your students can see in you. You are their inspiration. You're someone they will follow. And is there anything? I'm sure there are more things.
Yeah. No, I think you're really right as well to have questioned the question. I guess I have met enough teachers who maybe haven't had that affirmed, those positives affirmed, while seeing all the affirmations that we put on native teachers, that I do still think the answer is important to repeat again and again and again. But you're right, it's still creating a division. It's creating an us and them. It's okay, well, you don't have native, but look what you do have. And it isn't a fair system, but I wonder.
But Rhiannon, big up to you, because you're actually one of the people who take that right approach. You talk about it, you acknowledge that it exists. You look after us, you care, and that makes a huge difference. I know a lot of native teachers like that, by the way. I do. But then there are a lot who don't, and I think they have their own insecurities. I think they feel threatened almost by us, you know?
Yeah.
Because they know we are good, we are very good, and we know a lot, and we can do the job just as well as they can, if not better. So why would you not want to be inclusive? Why would you not want to? I don't understand. So it's excellent that you talk about this, because we really need to raise awareness about this topic.
Yeah, and there are lots and lots of places online and in the real world where these conversations are taking place. But I have to say, Instagram doesn't seem to be one of them. from the relatively short time I've been online, the conversations are a couple of accounts having that conversation, or maybe a couple of people mentioning it every so often, but doesn't seem to be, at least in my circles, and maybe I'm in the wrong circles, doesn't seem to be the conversations that are happening regularly. So
it really depends who you follow as well, right? So because you can always unfollow or follow. So if you follow the teachers that always say, hey, you should speak like a native, or keep repeating these labels, and they use it in this sort of toxic way. Speak like a native, sound like a native, reduce your accent. I just cannot stand these ideas. It's just so wrong on so many different levels. Not sure we have time to get into that, but
I don't think we do, unfortunately. But yeah, I entirely agree. And it's it's just the most cynical form of marketing. It's, you have an anxiety, you have an insecurity, and I'm going to build that up so that I can provide you with a made-up solution that isn't very high quality. Because if it was a high-quality solution, I wouldn't need to manipulate you into buying it.
Yeah.
But back up, calm down.
It's sort of, I don't know why, but it reminds me of the people who, when the pandemic started, who sort of saw it as a business opportunity, whatever they did, but they made a lot of money out of it. This is unethical. You do what you want to do. If then you have no guilt, well, that's your problem. But I don't like it because it's essentially it's bullying non-native teachers. This,
Yeah.
and you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. There is no need for that whatsoever.
Completely. We are going to draw the conversation to a close. Zdenek, I haven't told you I was going to ask you this in advance, but where can people find you? I know you have a podcast, for example, that I guest on, talked about saws and tools and hammers, which was very random, but really, really fun. Do you want to tell people a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so my podcast is called Zdeneks English Podcast, and you can find it wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the usual places. I also have a YouTube channel, but it's, let's say, I haven't been doing that for a very long time. It's more like experimental. But yeah, you can find a lot of stuff that I do there as well, and it would be excellent to get a few more followers, obviously. So yeah, Teach Zdenek YouTube channel, Teach Zdenek. And yeah, I also have a Discord group for high-level English learners if anyone is interested in joining. That's where I help people with usually speaking, confidence, and stuff like that, fluency. There's some also like language feedback and stuff like that.
Amazing. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Zdenek, for agreeing to be a guest and agreeing to be the first guest. So thank you so much for launching this Non-Native Teacher Diaries series. We are going to be continuing this over the next kind of 6 to 8 weeks, question mark. I'm kind of firming up the dates with my next few guests, and hopefully we'll kind of maybe attract some more guests if anyone's listening and wants to be a guest on this and kind of have your little diary space on the channel. Then I would be delighted to chat to you more about that. Just send me a DM. We're going to keep going. As Zdenek has very, very clearly argued in the last half an hour, this is a really important topic and it needs to be talked about more often. And so that's our goal for the next few weeks at least. But hopefully we'll continue it long after that. All right.
I actually look forward to hearing those other interviews, because it's possible that other people see things in a different way, right? So it would be nice to hear it from different perspectives as well. So yeah,
absolutely. All right, thank you to everyone who's joined us live. Thank you to those of you who have watched the replay. Really excited to go through your comments and start chatting to you about this. My thanks once again to Zdenek. All right,
thanks for having me, Rhiannon. Bye.